Original post, February 26, 2024. Hey everyone. So, my wife 32 female, and I 34 male have been together 18 years but have been arguing recently about the responsibilities within our marriage and we can't seem to agree. I work full-time and my wife is a stay-at-home mother. We have 2 children, one is in school full-time and the other goes to preschool 2.5 days a week. Recently my wife has been sending me these stupid TikToks that always say your wife is your partner, not your mom, and essentially boil down to man should help out around the house, help with the kids, and pick up after themselves. A sentiment I generally agree with. This usually comes with a side of, you don't value what I do, to look after the kids and plan everything. Now to be clear, I am not against helping out around the house and helping get the kids to bed, and brush their teeth, and cook meals. I do help with this stuff every day. I feel like all I do is work, because the second I finish work, I have kids to help with because she has had them all day. My position is, that she is right when she says kids are work, and I can appreciate that after a day of being with them all day, that she is probably tired of kids. But I have also been at work all day too, and it isn't fair to expect me to be sole parent as soon as I'm finished. Then there is the issue of housework. Our house is always a mess, which frustrates me when she complains about having to do all the unpaid labor of managing a household and looking after the kids. Because from my perspective, I go to work in a messy house and I finish work in a messy house. I work from home, and go into my office for 8 hours, only coming out for the occasional coffee and snack. This means that 90% of my mess is contained to a room only I go in. Most days while I'm at work she isn't even home. I feel that I am holding up my end of the bargain by working full-time and then helping with housework and the kids outside of that. But she isn't holding up her end of it by looking after the house and kids while I'm at work. I could understand that she wouldn't get as much done around the house on days when our youngest is home, but on days when she is at preschool, she takes it as an opportunity to have a break and go shopping with her mom or go visit a friend. Whenever I bring this up or question how much effort she is putting in, I get, "You don't appreciate me," and, "I'm not your mother." I'm not saying she should be waiting on me hand and foot as my personal maid and cook. I really hope I don't come across that way in this post, as that really not what I'm saying. But I am killing myself trying to do everything, yet I'm being told I'm the problem for treating her like my mother, because I'm expecting her to do her part. What can I do to help her see my side? Update 1, same post. So, a lot of people are saying we need to sit down and try to look at things as a team, and I am totally on board for this approach and will let you know how it goes. Also, to a few people dislike my framing of helping as it's my responsibility also. I agree, I use the term helping as that's the word she uses when saying I need to do more to help around the house. A lot of you either can't read or are refusing to believe that I actually parent my own children. I wake them up in the morning. I make them breakfast every day. I get them dressed every day. I take them to school 2 or 3 days a week. I know their teachers, I know all their friends and their friends' parents' names. I know their doctors, I bathe them, I get their PJs on and read them the same goddamn bedtime story every night for weeks. Because they don't want any of the other books we have, they want George the Giant. I draw with them, I play games with them, I know their favorite Disney princesses and favorite superheroes. As for the household, I do laundry, I load the dishwasher, I cook my own lunches, and tidy up after myself. I iron, I fold and put away laundry, I pick up their toys, and tidy their playroom. I hoover at the weekend and take them to kids' parties. I also do all the chores that my wife won't because, I'm the man, like taking out the bins, cleaning the car, mowing the grass, fixing anything that breaks. Update 2, 2 days later. So, I arranged for the in-laws to have the kids Friday night. Me and the wife sat down and had a talk. A long talk, probably one of the deepest and hardest talks we have ever had in our 18 years. I told her my side, that I felt overwhelmed and underappreciated. That I felt I was doing more than my fair share and that she wasn't. I told her that I could understand that while I may be doing plenty around the house and parenting, that I was guilty of letting her take the majority of the mental load, but that still didn't excuse her behavior. I felt I was firm but fair, and to her credit, instead of fighting back, she listened. We discussed her feelings, and she admits to not prioritizing housework and trying to make the most of her free time, and agreed that we will sit down and come up with a schedule for cleaning that we are both accountable for. She told me some issues that I wasn't aware of that her mother had been dealing with since retiring and the passing of my wife's grandfather. Loneliness and depression, issues relating to my sister-in-law, she's a mess and constant headache. Which was why she had been going to see her so much. Other feelings she had been having about feeling lost in kids, not having anything for herself, and some depression related to weight gain since having our second child. She has put on 40 to 50 pounds and no longer feels attractive. I told her that I still think she's beautiful, but she doesn't. There were hurt feelings and tears from both of us. So, we are taking steps to help. 1. We have both agreed to switch out mornings and evenings. I get the kids up, breakfasts, teeth, dressed, and take them to school. She does dinner, bath, bed. The next day we switch. This gives us both some mornings and evenings free to do what we want. 2. We are both joining the gym. I too have put on some weight and lost muscle since our second child. Hopefully, this helps with her body confidence. 3. We are also arranging with the in-laws to have babysitters once a week for us to start going on regular dates again. For context, the in-laws are our only support. I'm an orphan of abusive, raised by my grandmother, now passed. 4. We have found a cleaning schedule, where you do certain chores throughout the house every day but pick one room to deep clean every day too. With me doing laundry, dishwasher, and things that take less time. Her doing the deep cleans and general tidying. 5. Most importantly, she is looking to get a job part-time so she can start helping financially, give her some income that isn't from me and give her something to focus on outside of being a mom. As all my wages went into the joint account, I felt like I never had any money as I didn't want to spend and there not be enough to pay the mortgage. So, I never spent money and resented that she did. So, when she gets a job both incomes are going into the joint account, then we are getting a budget together. Making sure there is enough to cover direct debits, then dividing the remaining into accounts for savings and personal accounts for each of us to have our own money that we can spend how we want guilt-free. 6. I'm going to pick up a hobby that gets me out of the house and commute to the office once a week. One thing we discussed was that I was always at home. I didn't do anything other than work and be at home. So, we didn't have a lot to talk about, because I didn't go anywhere. It also meant that she never got any alone time at home away from me and the kids and she felt like a nuisance being at home while I'm at work. We took this weekend to spend some time together as a family, took the kids to the park, went to a nature reserve for a picnic and bike rides. Took the kids rock climbing followed by ice cream. It was really nice, and we both feel like a weight has been lifted. It's obviously not going to change overnight, and we need to work at it. But we have a plan, and both seem to want to put in the effort. To everyone who gave me good advice, recommended therapy, commiserated with your own stories, or just had a kind word to say, thank you so much. There were comments that made me cry and so much insight that I hadn't considered. Thank you. To those of you who clearly didn't read my post but instead assumed I was entitled and entirely to blame because I used the word help. Or that I probably didn't know my own children's birthdays and allergies. I feel sorry for you and hope that you get the help you so sorely need. Story 2. Am I the asshole for not telling my dad I got rejected by college on the day the result came out? First post, February 26, 2024. My mom passed away when I was a very young kid, so it's been just me and my dad ever since. We're not originally from the States. My dad came here to do his PhD, and I was born right after he finished. So, it is really only me and Dad. We don't have family here. I don't have any memories of my mom, and my dad has been busting his butt for me ever since. My dad's like, super brainy and he kind of expected me to be just as brainy as him. At school, I skipped 3rd grade, and they wanted me to skip 4th too, but my dad wasn't down for the double skip. They stuck me in the gifted program. You can imagine, my dad had these crazy high hopes for me. But I'm just a regular kid who hit some milestones early. I'm graduating high school this year and applying to colleges. My stats are decent, and I've been grinding, but not as stellar as my dad would have hoped. I've tried talking to him multiple times about not being Ivy League material or another top school, but he's not having it, especially since he went to a top school for his PhD. Anyway, 2 results from my applications are out, and I didn't get into either. My dad's beyond disappointed. There are still 6 more colleges I've applied to. Now, he's like the listing off the names of my friends and his friends' kids, checking where they're studying or planning to study, and he keeps comparing me to them. He's said so many times he can't wrap his head around why I, with all this supposed potential, haven't gotten into anywhere yet, like I must be lazy or something. I'm crushed about letting my dad down. He's the person I love the most in the world, and I feel like our relationship will never be the same again. Second post, March 9, 2024, 12 days later. I 16 male am a senior in high school and applying to colleges. I applied to 8 colleges and got 3 rejections, 2 of which I thought I'd get in. The other 5 are much harder, and I already know it's pretty much certain I'll be rejected from 2 of them. My mom passed away, so he raised me, is really disappointed with my results. He's so disappointed that he went to school to talk to my counselor and called me lazy in front of him. And my friends are getting into good colleges, which makes my dad even more mad at me. I thought my stats were enough to get into college, ranked 3rd in class, 1,580 SAT, took 4 AP exams and got 5s on all, captain of the sports team I play for, founded a volunteer project that raised $30,000, and other stuff. Since I know my dad is really mad at me, this week the result of another college I thought I'd get into came out, and I got rejected. I didn't tell my dad right away because I didn't have the courage. I didn't want to see him even sadder with me. I waited for the best time to tell him, but when I did, he didn't find out from someone else. He wasn't too happy that I took so long to tell him. Also, this week, my best friend since I was 8 got a likely letter from Harvard, meaning he'll probably get in. We're both only children, he's like a brother to me, and I can't imagine my life without our friendship. I was so happy, and we were supposed to spend today together to celebrate. But my dad banned me from leaving the house and using the car. He said it's because of my behavior of not trusting him by not immediately telling him about the application result and for me to reflect on what I did throughout all the years in school and getting these results. So, on the happiest day of my best friend's life, who grew up with me, who's like a brother, whose parents always took care of me as if I were their son, my dad is prohibiting me from being with him. Was I such an asshole for not telling him immediately? I think my dad overreacted. Edit. Dad is a high achiever, he has a PhD from a top school and is very smart. Relevant comments. Comment 1, those stats are enough to get into college. Also, you're 16, so you've accelerated at least 1 grade. What else is going on here? Did you only apply to reach schools, Ivy League and other highly prestigious programs? No safety options? Do you have a major disciplinary or legal issue you had to disclose? Did you submit incomplete or late applications? Are your essays potentially an issue? Are your letters of recommendation likely to cite personal or academic issues? OP, I applied to 2 schools with more than a 60% acceptance rate, and I was rejected. And yes, I'm accelerated at 1 grade. I have been in the Gifted Kids program since 3rd grade. I applied to 2 Reach schools. I don't have any disciplinary problems. I believe that the problem is in my essays. My letters of recommendation have different kinds of teachers, one of them met me when I was 8 years old. Comment 2, what's wrong with your essays, did you sabotage yourself? OP, why would I sabotage myself in my essays? I've been thinking a lot about what went wrong, and the reasons why I got rejected. And the only points I see are, essays and having taken more AP courses than AP exams. But I got an A or A+ in the AP courses, so I don't know if not taking the exams is really a problem. I don't know what the problem could have been. The problem might have been that nobody reviewed my essays before sending them. I just bounced the ideas off people, my friends and my counselor, and they said they sounded like good ideas. Comment 3, did you have someone look over and proofread your essays? Not a knock on your achievements and scores, but by your syntax, I would have guessed that you were English as a second language. OP, I only learned English when I was 5-6 years old. And my dad taught me to write everything in his country's language. Besides, my dad just refuses to speak English with me, so at home, it's only in his language. One of my recommenders is my English teacher. She says I write in a funny way, but not incorrectly. Maybe it's influenced by having learned another language first. Comment 4, out of curiosity, is your best friend also 16? Does your father realize that 16 is a young age to be applying to colleges? Your stats are definitely good enough to be accepted. OP, my friends are 1 year or a year and a half older than me, so 17. Comment 5, not an asshole, you're not an application machine, you're a human with impressive stats who hit a bump on the college road. Not blasting bad news, the second it arrives doesn't make you the bad guy, especially when dealing with rejection isn't as easy as pie. Dad's reaction? Overkill. Grounding you for not being a speed post messenger and missing out on your best friend's big day? That's not a lesson, that's a punishment for looking for a crime. Time for Dad to switch from Disappointment Express to Support Central. Remember, even superheroes need a moment to regroup after a setback. OP, what pisses me off the most is not being able to hang out with my best friend. He said he was going to bring his folks over to talk to my dad, but I think that's just going to make things worse. My dad's doing it on purpose because he knows nothing would piss me off more than missing out on this stay with my friend. Comment 6, your dad is very controlling and honestly sounds emotionally abusive. OP, I know my dad is pretty strict. I guess it's because he had to raise me all by himself, so he was afraid that without a mom, I'd lose my way. I always had to follow all the rules correctly, or it was a guaranteed punishment. At least my mom's friend convinced Dad to let me hang out today. Comment 7, let me guess, he had a bunch of rules that he never told you, but said they were implied rules when he punished you for breaking them? And then he would tell you I'm only harsh with you because I love you, and want the best for you? I'm also assuming that he's gone on rants at you about not being accepted to colleges. If I were you OP, I'd contemplate going low contact with your dad once you start college if you don't need his financial help. OP, 5 hours later, I'm back home now. Dad only let me go for a short while, but it's okay. Regarding my dad's rules, he used to make a list of things I had to do to help around the house and a list of things I couldn't do. When I was 10 to 11, he was really strict. He even used to hit me, which is common in his country. One night my friend was here for a sleepover, I think we were about 12 or 13 years old, and we went to the living room late at night and turned on the TV. After a while, my dad showed up there, he got really mad at us and took me to his room, and gave me a beating. My friend heard it and got really scared by the sounds. He told his mom who came and talked to my dad. After that day, he never laid a finger on me again, but I still get grounded and I still do to this day if I fail to do anything around the house. But it's been a while since I've been grounded, now I can't use any of his cars. Comment 8, dude, this is not love, that is not what love looks like. I would strongly urge you to get into therapy as soon as you are able to and maybe start rolling the idea around of cutting your dad out of your life once you are done with college. He's not a good person. I know that's hard to accept, but it's true. Good people do not hit their children for no reason no matter how they were raised. Think about it, you were raised like that, are you going to hit your children? You don't sound like the person who would. OP, he's a good person who makes mistakes. He was just replicating what he learned from his own parents, seems like it's normal in his country. He once told me he used to get spanked when he was a kid. My cousins also told me that their parents are very strict and beat them up. After he talked to my friend's mom, I think he realized it was wrong and stopped. He never apologized, of course. Update post, March 14, 2024, 5 days later. First of all, I wanted to thank you all for the support I received from you. You guys were really cool and made me feel calmer at a time when I was very sad. Yesterday, my dad came into my room and for the first time in my life, he apologized to me. He said he loves me very much regardless of any outcome and that his behavior in recent times has not been right. He hugged me and said that I was the most important thing in the world to him. I think my dad did this also because today the MIT results were coming out, which is one of the colleges I applied to as a reach. And I got in, dang it. I got into MIT. I opened the result, and it was just me and my dad here in front of the laptop. It was the most exciting feeling of my life. We hugged and cried. I'm going to study at MIT. Relevant comments. Comment 1, what made Dad change his mind? OP, honestly, I was grounded and skipped the team practice because I was feeling really down and scared of being away from my friends. I think my dad got worried when he saw I missed practice, afraid I'd be even sadder about the MIT decision. So, he didn't think I'd get in and tried to comfort me beforehand. Comment 2, what the heck, your dad has that little faith in you. OP, my dad never explicitly said he didn't think I'd get in, but that's just how I interpreted his actions. I also didn't think I'd make it, especially after being rejected by 3 other schools. First off, congratulations on getting into MIT, but man, your dad is really controlling. I know you don't want to think your dad is a bad person, but that's not normal parenting. Seriously though, good job getting into MIT anyway. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.